Living on the streets in Fall River, Massachusetts is a tough reality. Many live in tents off the highway, exposed to the harsh winters and vulnerable to violent crime. The issue a majority of them face outside of addiction is the endless cycle of waiting on the government housing list. Various factors play into who gets bumped up and down the list, but single, middle-aged adults seem to be the ones who wait the longest, if they ever actually get chosen.
These single people end up being number 1,400 on the housing list. I have somebody who's 1,495. She's like, I might be dead before I get housing. And like I laugh, but it's kind of true. Like, you're like, oh.
Just getting on the list and getting called up and said, hey, we got an apartment for you. It's been that long since, 2016 I've been on that list.
You've been on those since 2016?
Yes, correct. And I'm at 158 right now, and it went up last week and then it went back down, so.
I'll look on the computer and check my status and it'll go down to like 119. I'll look the next day and it done jump back up to 124, 126 because they done put somebody else in that slot.
In the first episode of this series, we sat down with Ron and he told us all about the trauma he's lived through, which has led to a lifetime of addiction. He spent all of his time helping out at the Tomeo Center, which is an overflow shelter in Fall River that was forced to close down due to lack of funding. After it closed, we were concerned as to what this meant for Ron, so we met up to see how he's doing. He was recently able to scrape some money together for a car to live in. The car can't drive, but it's a safe alternative to sleeping in a tent.
I want to say I'm somewhat used to it. By the time I put my music on, I want to say probably after 2 or 3 songs, I'm knocked out till the next morning. So usually once I get in, I already have my seats laid back. I have my pillow here. I have my blankets here that I throw over me. I listen to my music, I fall asleep. This is my NA book that I usually go through every night. I also have a journal that I write in every day about what's been going on in my life, what happened today. Even when I'm pissed off, I write in there so I don't have to yell at people. I looked at like 5 different cars. The reason why I chose this, because I looked at it like, this is something I can actually sleep in and have room to put my clothes and stuff like that. So it's a blessing for me.
Given the situation at hand, Ron still seemed to be in good spirits and is doing the best with what he has. We decided we wanted to pay to get his car up and running so we can hopefully find a job and a place to live. Unfortunately, just a few short days later, we received a call that changed our plans. An accident occurred on the street he was parked, and a vehicle slammed into his car, leaving it totaled. Luckily, he was not sleeping inside the car when the accident occurred, but this did mean that Ron's home was gone, and in a blink of an eye, he was back sleeping on the streets. What's going on?
Tired. These last 3 days have been hell.
With the Tomeo Center closing down and Ron losing his car in such a short period of time, we felt obligated to give this guy the break he needed. Not to mention, he's worked so hard to keep his sobriety.
I've wanted to get clean a long time ago. Like I said, I guess I just wasn't ready. My youngest daughter, I was going to programs, for a month and a half, and she just told me one day, Dad, you got to go for a lot longer than like a month and a half. And just to hear the hurt in her voice and to see tears come out of her eyes, I'm all done.
We drove by you. I'm going to be taking a right onto Talking Hill again. Maybe it was like 160 and not 16 or something like that.
Nah.
It's really nice.
What is it?
It's a park. It's like brand new built. It's right on this is like the oldest part of the Acushnet River, like when the Indians, this is like where they settled, like right here.
This is Michael Sylvia. He's been working hard behind the scenes, trying to help Ron get back on his feet. Once he found out about Ron's car, he made a few phone calls and found someone willing to rent him a room right away with no security deposit needed.
I say that a lot here in our brokerage, that it takes a village to make a great brokerage. And I think it takes a community to make a great city. And there are a lot of resources out there, and I think there are a lot of people reaching out. And I think if we can help people start to get past the depression and the addiction, we can turn some people's lives around. It's a 11-room rooming house. All gentlemen live in here. A lot of long-term tenants. It's safe. It's quiet. The rooms include utilities. So I just acquired the property a couple of weeks ago, and Mike and I were talking about it. Said maybe this would be a good start for you.
Definitely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Over 2,200 days of living on the streets of Fall River has finally come to an end, and hopefully, this is the beginning of a bright future for Ron. Unfortunately, the reality for the rapidly growing homeless population in Fall River and New Bedford is much more grim. With programs like the Tomato Center shutting down due to lack of funding, we need to come together as a community and help those who are in need. Mike was kind enough to not only get Ron a place to live, but he's covering his first month's rent, and we picked up some essential items to allow Ron to rest before beginning his search for a job. We're starting a donation page to help raise enough money to cover as much of Ron's rent as possible to help him adjust to a normal and productive life. The donation page will be linked in the description of this video. Any amount of money will be a blessing.